peaceful confidence and seeing divine timing through the lens of everyday miracles. Well, there was a miracle this morning because as I wrote out the production notes for the podcast today, I reached out to my best friend, Will. Actually, he reached out to me, which is the coolest thing in the world, to have your friend call you. Like, and I tell you, if you could just stop right now, stop the podcast, call your best friend. Call them right now and just tell them you love them. That's it. Just do it and then just come right back to the podcast. Now, make sure if you're listening to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Pandora, wherever you listen and enjoy it, make sure you just hit that subscribe button and turn on the alerts because we drop when we drop. Like, it's not a specific time. We can try that if you would like. Comment, let me know. But my friend called me today, Will, and I had just got done spending some time with God this morning. I moved my body a little bit, did all the things that, you're supposed to, that I do in the morning. And I had my production notes and I said, can I read something to you real quick? And he was like, absolutely. So he told me about something that he was going to do today. He was actually going to go to a little protest in Orange County. We laughed about it and stuff like that. And I said, can I read something to you? And I read my production notes to him. And he was like, man, can you send that to me? I'd like to read it every morning. And I was like, man, that feels so good. And I said, well, I'm actually going to do a podcast on it right now. And I said, I'll send it to you. He was like, man, make sure that you send that to me. And it created some peaceful confidence, not the beat my chest kind of like bravado, but it was that peaceful confidence knowing that, man, like he wanted to hear this, that people want to hear this. And I think that every one of you right now, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you the way that my pops encouraged me. It was something that I sometimes took for granted growing up because I was encouraged every single day by my mom, my pops. But what would it mean to you to be encouraged exactly where you're at right now, exactly what you're doing, that your timing is perfect and you don't need to be anywhere else? Imagine if it was just that. Well, I want to encourage you wherever you're at, you're exactly where God has you to be. You're doing exactly what he has you to do. And if he needed you to be doing something else, he would have you doing it. Well, I heard my pops' voice this morning when I started to spend some time with the Lord alone. And I heard him say, like my pops, and he would say this all the time, he would be like, boy, are you even supposed to be in this place? And it wasn't that my dad was challenging my merit. It was just that he was trying to shift my focus into all the little things that had to take place for me to be right here, right now. He wanted to take my focus and put it on the miracles that happened to be able to get me into this present moment, as opposed to me focusing on the things that I didn't have, the things that were shortcomings, the things that maybe I hadn't, the goals that I hadn't hit. And I want to encourage every single one of you. Miracles had to happen for you to be in that place right now at that time. And even with my friend Will, when he was saying he was going out to the protest, I said, man, just be careful when you go out. And he said, man, I'm going to be fine. And I said, I know you're going to be fine, but I don't want someone popping off at the mouth at you and then you laying hands on them. And he just started laughing. I said, most likely there's going to be someone in your path. And remember your mom. Remember Mrs. Simmons, your mom, and how incredible she was at no matter where she was, she walked into that place and being a blessing to somebody. I said, you're going to meet someone today. And I want to encourage every one of you out there that's listening or watching. There are so many miracles that happen to be able to get you to the place where you're at. So be a miracle in somebody's life right here, right now. Because when we start focusing on miracles, we actually start to see more of them. And so it brought me back to, my pops saying to me that God is working on your behalf, boy, even when you cannot see it. So chill out. Praise him now, because that will unlock the blessings. And as I sat down and I started to read Proverbs 18, which is the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day, and I would encourage you to do this. It's only 25, 30 verses, somewhere around there. Take you about 5-10 minutes. Pick out one thing that hit your heart, something that it made you think about, and then what action can you add to it today? We got a journal. I'll talk about that later. But in Proverbs 18, when I sat down, I've annotated the whole thing. It reminds us that God's at work and that his will, his purpose, and his plan are only and always on his timing. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never know, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Check this out. Check this out. Are you even supposed to be in this place? And there's so many times when my pops would say this to me, and he would say boy in front of it. If you knew my pops, you got to spend time with him. You got to hang out with him. I told one of my friends yesterday, I was doing some coaching with one of my clients, and I was telling her that my pops was always 3 degrees away, 3 degrees of separation away from Jesus. And it meant that if you went to the store and, you ran into him and you were like, hey, Mr. Cardenas, Mr. C, what's up? How you doing? And he would be like, I'm doing great. And then you would say, what are you doing here? And he would tell you he was picking something up. And then he asked you what you were picking up. Oh, well, I'm picking up some fruit. And he would be like, oh, the fruit of the Spirit. And then he would just start talking about Jesus. He would get you to Jesus no matter what. The reason why is because it was all up in his heart. And because it was all up in his heart, overflowing of his heart was his words, and then his words turned into his actions. And it was that way all the time. But when he would ask me this, boy, are you even supposed to be in this place? It would stop me in my tracks. And again, like I said before, it wasn't about the merit part. It wasn't about him challenging my merit. It was just about him helping me to realize that the focal point of every single day, of every single moment, if we just focus on the miracles, all the little tiny miracles, all those little inch stones that had to be in place for you to be right here, right now. And even though the circumstances that you have right now aren't the most perfect in the world, what I want you to understand is they are yours. They are present. They are right now. And when we start praising God in those, then it starts to unlock the blessings. Because that's acting on faith as opposed to circumstance. And that's where God wants us all the time, which can be challenging because when we're acting on faith, it means that we can't see it. It's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Even when you stutter, like I just did right there, God is still in it. He's still putting you in the place where you're at. So I want to encourage you, exactly where you're at is exactly where you're supposed to be. And when we start focusing on the miracles, you'll start seeing them all over the place. Think about it. When you break up with somebody, when you have a relationship, you break up, what do you hear? You hear sad songs. When you get a red car, when you're driving down the street, what do you see? Red cars. Why? Because there's more red cars and more breakup songs? No, it's just because you're focused on it. So what I would encourage you to do today is start focusing on all those little miracles. This was the most challenging for me because anytime that I'd be going through a challenge, this is what my pops would say to me. He would be like, boy, what about all the miracles? What about all the little things that are around to be able to get you to this point? Imagine all those little things. Now, are your circumstances perfect? No, they never will be. But Proverbs 18, it reminds us that God's at work, even when we can't see him. And it's his will, his purpose, his plan. But the hard thing is that it's always going to be his timing. But his timing is perfect. It's not always perfect for us or perfect where we think it should be, but it's always, always, always perfect. Big shout out to Will too. I want to thank you for that peaceful confidence today and seeing divine timing. Like divine timing, I got to live that today. Right before I was about to record, I was just about to go on, and as I'm just about to hit record, my phone rings and I'm thinking, maybe I just mute it, but I didn't because it was Will, is my best friend. I lift it up and he just encourages me right off the bat. And then I tell him the production notes and he's like, man, send that to me. And there's something about a little bit of encouragement. And I tell you, it's the thing that we all lack. It's the thing that we all need. And But be that encouragement to somebody. And I want to be that encouragement to you. I want to be that encouragement to you to tell you that job that you hate right now is exactly what you need. And I had a friend last night. We were watching FNL, and he asked me about Maddox playing football, and I said it's been a tough season as far as the tackle football and all that, because it's brand new. And I said there's times where I have to force him to go to practice, and he said that's when you become a man, when you do things that you don't want to because you know they're going to be good for you. And I was like, pow! Like he just dropped a gem on me. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. It was an encouragement. But how many of us need that encouragement? We always look for it from our parents. We look from it from our friends or our brothers. And if you're a big brother, let me tell you this. I'm a little brother. If you're a big brother, call your little brother today and just tell him how awesome he is. Tell him specifically some things that inspired you about him or her. If you're a big brother, big sister, make sure that you call your little sister or your little brother, you call your little cousin, you call your son, whoever it is. There's maybe a mentee. There's a little guy named Coy that I told to listen to all the podcasts, and he comments on them, and I coached him. And I want to encourage you, Coy, because you're exactly where you need to be, man. You're incredible. You're incredible exactly who you are. And God doesn't make any mistakes, and he didn't start with you. So I just want to encourage you on those things. And let's jump into Proverbs 18. I took a little bit more time, but here it is. It's not always about your comfort, right? And so when it's God's will, God's purpose, his plan, and his timing, it's not always about your comfort. Sometimes it's about growth. And growth isn't always comfortable. It's not always about your comfort. It doesn't mean that there won't be things that will create comfort for you. But God calls us to joy. And joy is the art of falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. He doesn't call us to happiness. Happiness is circumstantial. Joy is about faith. Joy is about faith because we fall in love with our current circumstances and realize how many miracles had to come in place and how many things, how many bits of work did he have to do, little things did he have to put in place for you to be right here, right now. We can't even fathom that, but when we start focusing on all those blessings, then we start to see more of them in our life. And so that brings us to verse number 2 in Proverbs 18. Count your many blessings, name them one by one. I could hear my mom's voice when I say this. My mom's voice was always saying, count your many blessings. And a lot of times I would be like, no, I'm mad. That person broke up with me, or I didn't get a good grade, which was most of the time. I didn't get what I wanted. Count your many blessings, name them one by one, because when you start doing that, you'll fill your heart up with all of the gratitude that you have. You'll fill your heart up with the joy, which is the art of falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. And then what'll happen is start to flow out your mouth. And when you start to speak joy, guess what starts to happen? You start to move towards that, and then you see more of it because you're aware of it. So count your many blessings, name them one by one. Thank you, Mama. In verse 3 and 5 of Proverbs 18, seek wisdom, fill up on it, and do the right thing. My buddy Gary Spellman, I've told you this before if you've listened, if you've listened in, and if not, go back and hear the stuff. But he told me he was going to write a book, and it was just going to be leather bound. He's going to charge $100 for the book, and it was just going to have one page, and the one page said, do the right thing. And on the back of the page, it said, the end. He said that's the best personal development book of all time. Do the right thing. How will we know what's right for us at that time? Well, the one who built us knows exactly what's right for us. So if we spend time with him, then we'll see his words, his actions. We'll see that they're in line. We'll start to respect him or fear him. That was the context of that. When we fear God, he is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. That'll bring knowledge into our life. That'll bring understanding. That understanding will bring insight. Insight will bring discretion. Discretion will bring discernment. Discernment will bring discipline. And discipline will bring strength and lead us right back to the respect of God, which is just spending time with him, and we'll understand the right thing to do at the right time. And that'll cause the right things to happen. But it won't be on our timing. It'll be on his. In verse 4, wisdom will keep you fresh. Think of this. Like your own thoughts, your own knowledge. If you just have knowledge without wisdom, knowledge without wisdom, wisdom is the right use of knowledge. Knowledge it's like the person who's really smart in books, and then you get them on the street and they don't know what to do. They have no practical application for the knowledge that they have. There's no reason to have knowledge unless you have application to it. You could fill up with all the most great personal development in the world, but if you are not willing to apply it, then it won't work. Wisdom will keep you fresh. Because wisdom comes from the fear of God, and fear of God is the respect of God, and the only way that we get that is by spending time with him. And that's spending intimate time with him in the morning. Just take a little bit of time. Spend 15 minutes. Read the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. Just read it. Grab the journal, the Inchstones, the Vibe Within. I had one. I don't even have one in the studio because they keep flying off the shelf. Dave Blackford, thank you so much. He's been buying them up. People have been grabbing them, and then they're sending me pictures of their journal from the day, which is amazing. What hit your heart? What did it make you think about? What action could you add to it today? 3 very simple things. So as we go, my son would not like this, but I'll go like this. 6, 7, verse 6, 7, and 8 is your words are an overflow of your heart, so guard it at all costs. Guard your heart at all costs. Your words are an overflow of your heart. This is what my mom would tell me all the time. There's only one way that things get into your heart, through your eyes, through your ears, and through your senses. So just be conscious of what you watch, what you listen to, and what you come in contact with, because that'll end up filling up your heart. When it fills up your heart and your heart starts to overflow, it'll flow out your mouth. But just be conscious. If you got negative words about people, it's in your heart. You got positive about it, it's in your heart. And what I've heard in the past over and over again is that a spring, like a spring of water, can't gush salt water and fresh water at the same time. So be conscious of the source, and the source is always going to be your heart. So guard your heart at all costs. Let's see here. In verse 9, laziness doesn't work. You could put a comma there if you want, or just laziness doesn't work, or laziness, comma, doesn't work. Be diligent in counting your blessings. Diligent means that you're doing right work. When you're doing right work and you're counting your blessings, being diligent in that, then you won't be lazy about it. Don't be lazy about counting your blessings. And I want to tell you, no matter where you're at, no matter what situation you're in right now, there are some blessings in your life. And if you focus on them, you'll start to see more of them. In verse 10 and 11, the Lord is a firm foundation. All else is sinking sand. I hear that it's almost like a song from like Sunday school. The Lord is a firm foundation. All else is sinking sand. Everything else, money, intelligence, security, all these things. If you build your foundation on the Lord and his principles, all the rest of this stuff will work out. Every other thing will work out. It doesn't mean that you just put your head in the sand and you just read the word and then everything turns out perfect. No, if you read the word, then you're going to work hard. If you read the word, then you're going to be diligent. If you read the word, you're going to want to be a master at your craft. And when you're a master at your craft, then people find you. You actually don't even have to do the marketing. I was just bragging about my brother. He's one of the top personal injury attorneys there in Las Vegas, one of the top firms. And he asked me one time, he's like, should I do some billboards? I've been kind of thinking about the billboard thing. And I said, well, why would you do a billboard? And he said, well, you know, it kind of gets the name out there and things like that. And I said, well, why do people do billboards? Why do people do advertisement? They do it to be able to get to a point where people talk about them word of mouth. And I said, you already have people talking about you word of mouth. You already have that. He's got the holy grail of marketing because everybody is talking about him, even while he's not there. The reason why is because he's doing right work. He's diligent in what he does, and he's a master at his craft, and the world finds masters. The Lord is a firm foundation, and all else is sinking sand. Build your house on a firm foundation. In verse 12, pride comes before the fall. Humility will lift you up. Completely counterintuitive to what we talk about today. I was talking to my wife today, and I said, very few people share your stuff. Very few people, and that's okay. But I want to do a big shout out to Bobito Garcia. This guy is an absolute legend. Not only the voice of 90s hip hop and broke more artists than you could imagine, Jay-Z and Nas and Biggie and the Wu-Tang Clan and Eminem all came on his show, Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito, before they were ever signed. But the cool thing is he's also a filmmaker. He's also an author. He's got a Bobbito's book of B-Ball Bong Bong that just came out. This guy is unbelievable. He's a legend. I just had him on the podcast. You have to listen to it. But you know what? Bobbito shared the newsletter that I did about him and his episode and shared every single clip that I did and sent it out to his audience. How awesome is that? You see, he showed humility through that. He showed humility and he propped somebody else up. It wasn't just about him beating his chest. He propped somebody else up. And that humility will always lift you up. Bobbito, you're a gangster. I appreciate you. And I tell you, you inspired me to no end, man. In verse 13, listen fast and talk slow. Hardest thing to do. I was just working with my client, Diane McCaffrey. She got Salon Beloved. And here's just a side note. We were talking about it, and here's a side note. If you go to a salon, okay, was in the professional beauty industry for 30 years, still have my hands in it and around it. But if you go to a salon, if you go to a hairdresser, what I want you to do right now is I want you to, the next time when you go in, I want you to ask them a couple of questions. Number one, when should I come back and see you again? And every one of you that goes into a salon, you're going to be within four, there's four kind of sectors. Number one is a 4-week. Number two is a 6-week. Number three is a 8-week. And number 4 is a 12-week. 4 weeks is the person who has a lot of gray and they need to have it, you're in front of a lot of people. You're seen all the time and you want to make sure that it's on point. That's a 4-week appointment. You're going to schedule it. For a 6-week appointment, that's a person who, likes to make sure their stuff is in line. Maybe they're getting highlights, whatever it is. But the 6-week is optimal. 8 weeks is the person who stretches it a little bit longer. That 7th week, you're going to feel that you need to get it done. The 8th week is going to be when you come in. And then there's the person who doesn't like to ever look like they got their hair done and, they like it grown out a little bit. And that's going to be once every 12 weeks, which is going to be 4 times a year. Ask your hairdresser that. Like, when should I come back and see you? The second thing that I would ask them is, what is the services that are going to be the best for me? If I just get this haircut today, would color make it look better? Ask your hairdresser this question. If you give me color today, should I get a conditioning treatment today? And the answer would be emphatically yes. Every single person in the last 30 years of me doing hair, every single person needed a haircut or that got a haircut would look better with color, and that color always needed a conditioning treatment. And then finally, every one of you out there that's a client of a salon, you buy shampoo, conditioner, and a styling aid from somewhere, make sure you buy it from your hairdresser. It will change their life. It will change the salon's life. And it's not only supporting local business, but also who knows your hair better than your hairdresser? They spent time with you. They know exactly what it is. So just ask them for their professional recommendation. Ask those 3 things. When should I come back and see you? What services should I enjoy? And also, what products do you recommend? Because I want to buy them from you and support your local business. We were having that conversation, Diane and I were having that conversation. And for the first half of the coaching call that I had with her, I had to listen. I had to listen for half of it. And then the second half, I got to give my professional recommendation. Listen fast, talk slow. This is a very tough one. Very, very, very tough one to be able to do. In verse 14, to speak life and lift up people's spirits. No matter what you're doing, there's a way for you to be able to lift up people's spirits, and I want to lift your spirits right now. If you're out there and you're struggling through something, you maybe lost a family member, you lost a job, you're struggling in your marriage, you're, at 50, you start to think like, should I be doing this or that? I just want to encourage you. You're exactly where God has you to be. And there's blessings on the way, but focus in on those blessings right now, because I want to lift your spirits. In verse 15, wisdom seeks knowledge and stores it up in the heart. When you have wisdom, it seeks out knowledge because wisdom is the right use of knowledge. You only get wisdom from the fear of God, which is spending time with him. And it's just alone time with God. It's not from any ritual or religion. It's just from spending time with him. And when you spend time with him, he'll give you wisdom, and that wisdom will cause you to seek knowledge. And then you'll store that up in your heart because you'll have the right use of it. When you fill up your heart with knowledge, with understanding, with insight, with discretion, with discernment, with discipline, with strength, it starts to flow out your mouth. And when it flows out your mouth, you start speaking life to people and you start lifting their spirits. In verse 16, 19, and 23, be good to people. Generosity wins. It always wins. Generosity of your time, generosity of your attention could be just a call. Call or text someone today. If you need encouragement, call and encourage somebody today. You'll see it'll start to lift your spirits. I want to encourage every one of you out there that goes to any salon. I don't care where you go. Make sure that you buy all your shampoo, all your conditioner, and all your styling aids simply from that salon. It literally will change the hairdresser's life. This is, for me, an encouragement to the hairdresser, an encouragement to you as a client. In verse 17, listen to the full story. The cross-examination is vital. Most of the time with social media, we only listen to one side. But what God encourages us to do is listen to both sides. The cross-examination is so vital because there's information that sometimes the cross-examination draws out that you didn't hear in the first statement. So just be conscious of it. Listen fast, talk slow. In verse 18, bring people together. Always bring people together. Will, I love you. This is what you've always done. It came from your mama. Your mama always brought Miss Simmons, Mr. Simmons, always brought people together. I got to see this with my parents. They always brought people together. Bring people together. And when you bring them together in love and joy and lift them up. That's what we're doing with the Vibe Room. That's why we have a live version of the podcast, and it's here in Carlsbad, November 5th. I bring people together. I've got to run in so many cool circles throughout my life. And you know what? The Vibe Room, I get to bring all those circles in and introduce all of them. And then magic happens. One of my buddies, Dave Blackford, just heard an episode of the podcast with Jeff Engel. And Jeff Engel's a former Navy SEAL. He worked with, Admiral McCraven, who was the head of the Bin Laden raids, and Captain Sullivan, I think it was that where they shot the pirates on the moving ship. It was a movie, I think, with Tom Hanks. Was it Captain Sullivan? I can't remember what it was, but it was one of them. But he's a former Navy SEAL, Jeff Engel. He was on the podcast. He's an incredible guy. He has a tech business here in Carlsbad. Tremendous dude. Location Tech, if you want to check it out and check out that episode. But Dave reached out to me because I run in that circle. He's in my men's group, and he's like, I just listened to Jeff Engel. I just got goosebumps. This is so amazing. And I was like, he's going to be at the Vibe Room. He was like, I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. And I said, I'm going to introduce you and connect you. I take those circles, bring people together. Magic happens when you do. In verse 20 and 21 is your words will feed you. Your words will feed you, whether positive or negative. So just be conscious of the food that you want to eat. You want to eat positive food, speak positive things. You want to eat negative food, speak negative things. But your words are nothing more than an overflow of your heart. So if you got negative stuff in your heart and that's what you're filling your heart up with, and the only way it'll get into your heart is through your eyes, through your ears, and through your senses. So if you're putting yourself around and you're listening and you're watching to negative things that's filling up your heart, then it comes out your mouth and then your words will feed you. So just be conscious of what you allow in your heart. In verse 22, honor your relationships. Honor your relationships at the highest level. And my wife is the greatest at this. She's downstairs working with Nanny with her mom. And my wife honors relationships like nobody I've ever seen in my life. My wife is a ride or die. She's a gangster, and she is just an incredible, incredible woman. Not to mention too that she does all of the editorial work for Paul Mitchell throughout the country and throughout the world. So any ad that you see for Paul Mitchell, billboards, anything like that, it's my wife's work. She's a gangster. She's also got voted the #1 wedding hairdresser in all of San Diego. So if you're getting married, there's only one choice. And I tell you, she's not only the best at her craft, a master at her craft, but also she creates the most amazing vibe that you could ever imagine. I got a chance to be able to officiate a wedding out in Orlando, and it was at the Four Seasons. They had rented out the Four Seasons. I mean, this wedding was unbelievable. And my wife is so cool. She has, there's a little bit of stress, whatever it is with the bride and all this stuff. And then she just has them all like listening to Biggie, rapping in the back. And then everybody calms down, just has a great time. And all because Brooklyn is a master at her craft. So if you have a wedding, you're getting married, you have that big day, there's only one choice. It's Brooklyn Cardenas. She's the greatest. Lastly, as we finish up, is just make good friends and be a greater one. Make great friends. Make great friends around you, but be a greater one. That's how you're going to attract them. You see, God's blessings are always in the process. Always in every little thing that he's doing. His instructions today in Proverbs 18 are not meant to stifle us, but it's meant to prepare us for the abundance of blessings that are on the way. My brother said this to me one time. I was like, man, I was struggling a little bit. And he's like, what you struggling with? And I said, well, this is happening, but I want this result. And he's like, are you doing what you love? I said, yes. He said, what would you be doing if all the money was flowing and everything was perfect? I was like, I'd be doing this. And he said, well, there's a delay for a reason. There's a delay in the reward for a reason because you're not ready to accept it. Some harsh words, but I understood. You see, God can't bring the blessing into your life if you don't have the foundation to be able to receive it, but he also gives us all of the components for that foundation. When we focus in on all of the miracles that have taken place, we will be free to accept his will, his purpose, his plan, and his timing. This will help you answer the question, boy, are you even supposed to be in this place? With an emphatic yes, because I'm a child of the Most High, and he's doing all the work in the background. He's taking care of all the details. He's creating all the miracles that will help me to be in this place right here, right now. So I'm going to be filled up with joy, which is the art of falling in love with my current circumstances and allowing all that magic to happen around me. So why don't we today start focusing in on the miracles all around us? Praise him and just chill out. I want you to understand how much I appreciate every single one of you. Somebody needs to hear this today, and that person, I want you to share this episode with them immediately. Send it out to them, whether it be on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. If you're not subscribed on all of the channels, go ahead and do that. But I tell you, my name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat, and I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Peace, love, and soul.
Achieving, cause we believing it's for certain. We put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting right before your eyes. So it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to